Cancer. Hey, thanks for dropping in with me and happy solar return to you. I wish you so many blessings and level ups and just all the good stuff to come into your life as you prepare to take this next trip around the sun. I'll have your birth totem read coming in for you next week. But it is the full moon today, and it's full moon in Descendant sign for you, for those of you who are Cancer risings. That makes you Capricorn descendants, but those of you that are Capricorn risings are Cancer descendants. So there's some mirroring energy going on here, and it's funny to me because these moons coming in, this one is in Capricorn, and it is the 21st today. We just had summer solstice come in, very significant cross-quarter point in the year. And we also have another full moon that will be coming in on July 21st, also in Capricorn. So I think this is a really important time for you, Cancer, especially in terms of your relationships. And we're going to dive into this energy, but I just want to give a little awareness around what's going on with this full moon for the collective. And I'm going to be getting reads out for each of the signs in regard to this. I really want to dive into this energy because it feels like it's really rich. It's challenging terrain, but there's a lot of potential there. There's a lot of growth. There's a lot of healing. There's a lot of transformation that can be had. There can be radical change that can occur in our lives if we can work with the energy in a way that allows us to really cut through illusion and not get caught up in the trap. And it was interesting because right before I dived into this session with you, I looked out the window and there's 3 damsel flies that have gotten caught up in a web out there. And right after I noticed this, we had a downpour. So I feel like there are 3 around you, Cancer, that's been spreading a bit of illusion, confusion in a situation to which you're all interconnected. And I feel like there's 3 who have really been causing some problems in this situation. And this energy is getting kind of caught up right now. It's in the process of being cleansed away. And as this happens, I also feel like through communication, I almost want to say confusion. So again, I think it's just emphasizing that there's been a lot of confusion and the source is communication that's been misused. Our words have power. So there's something going on here where the sources of that confusion are getting caught up in the reverberation of what they put out there in motion, because our words do manifest things. And I feel like as this happens, there's more clarity that comes in. You're going to need to communicate very clearly and effectively in order to navigate what could be a potentially dicey situation. I see that in the process, you could make one feel isolated, or you could lose a very significant connection. And so this is something you want to be aware of. There was also this like side message that came in that you might really want to be mindful of your spending right now. Set aside some money for a rainy day. There may be something coming in where you'll have to travel in the near future and you'll want to have some extra resources on hand. This could be related to hearing some news about an illness or something where you have to come to a loved one's aid or offer some support. So just do be mindful of that. That came in initially, right? And this is for any significant Cancer placement, or if you have a prominent placement in the 4th house. Also, if you are a Capricorn rising, that makes you a Cancer descendant. Either way, I think you're really going to feel this particular moon and the entire lunar cycle, because it is going down in your descendant sign, and that usually is a mirror for relationships. And there's already this mirroring effect going on with this full moon, and especially because it's coming in at the same time that we have Jupiter in Gemini. So the energy's amplified of that sort of like shared reflection. You know what I mean? And Gemini is the house of communication. So there's a lot coming in right now. There's also a lot of synchronicity. But this particular moon, it's harshly aspected. We're just going to get the messy stuff out of the way right off the bat here. I think it's important to introduce the astrology. And this is probably the only read we'll go really deep on that in, because it's the read that's kicking off this series. So I'll make sure the collective taps in just to get the download on this. I did put a write up on the community board. But right now we got this moon coming in Capricorn, full moon, and it is square Neptune. This is really tricky territory, okay? When we have a square Neptune aspect, this is when there's a tendency to get caught up in illusion or fantasy, to put on the rose-colored glasses, to put on the blinders, to sort of get tunnel vision and only see what we want to see rather than see the reality of a situation. It's also a time of a lot of glamour that's cast about out there, okay? So there's a lot to sort through to really figure out what is just a projection and what is actually truth. What is the other's perspective? These kind of messages are going to be playing out and coming in. And there's a lot of also shadow boxing energy around that as well. This can also be a time when any kind of addictive behaviors acts up, any kind of obsessive behaviors can become a bit of a problem. And there's just a desire to hit, the eject button and escape, just escape for a while by any means. But there can be the tendency to get kind of caught up in that illusion or have that lead to a downward spiral. I mean, there's also heavy energy going on as well with what's called a provocative pattern. We got Pluto is coming in Keen 6. Okay, so that's a tricky territory. It can lead to things like paranoia, and it can lead to issues with just feeling suspicious of everybody, having a hard time trusting as it is, and also having more of a tendency to be operating out of the shadow aspect, the unhealed parts of ourselves. So it's a really tricky energy to work with. There is a positive aspect here with a trine that we got going on between Neptune and Pluto. Okay, so at the same time, if you can enter like creative brain space, if you can look at things in more of a manifestation perspective where you're really conscious of your thoughts and you're conscious of the energy that you're working with, you can make some stuff happen, but there's still going to be challenges with that. There's a fixed star in play as well that's a bit problematic, that can also cause some further issues just in terms of heightening the desire to just sort of rush in and just throw caution to the wind and just go with our impulses, because we buy into the illusion and we buy into the fantasy. And it can be rough when you come out the other side of those experiences. So it is something to be mindful of. The particular star also has great association with vision issues, okay? And yes, physically it can be aspected to cause kind of health problems, but at the same time, it also brings in this quality of, I'm taking it as lack of vision, not being able to see clearly. So do be aware of this, okay? All this coming in, opening up here, yes, do be aware of this. You really have to pay attention to your intuition. This is you in your energy very strongly. I do feel that you got a lot brewing inside emotionally. It might be related to these 3 damselflies that came in there. You might have really had to master a certain situation internally. Okay. You might have had to hold your tongue a lot when you really felt like you wanted to give it to someone, I have to say. Yeah, there might have been something you were dealing with where you were bumping up against some kind of authority figure in your life, or somebody who felt like they had some kind of measure of power over you. And this has kind of put you in a sort of polarized position, perhaps even against another, somebody that you feel a deep connection with, maybe even a spiritual connection with. We got Taurus. We also have Gemini energy here, right? I also think this is something that may have a lot to do with you being able to define your life and yourself on your terms, and not feeling like you have to succumb to outside pressure to sort of live up to a role that you no longer want to be in. There's something here about desiring freedom from a particular authority figure, somebody who has too much control, too much power over your life. Some of you may be in marriages or other committed situations, and you're starting to really question if this is the right place for you. And this can be anything from a relationship you're in, a romantic relationship, or some kind of role you're playing in work, or you could be married or in a serious business partnership with somebody. But there's something here about really just not wanting to follow the status quo in this situation and wanting to move forward. You're really wanting a new beginning here. There's your energy, very strong again, but you're sort of in this polarized place. Like you have to make your mind up about something. There is a major phase in your life that is coming to a close. I got that in as an initial download for you too. There is something very significant that is ending here in your life, and it's coming up soon. I feel like you're going to see it happen, by the fall. This will have taken place. It's something that sets you on an entirely new road. And again, you may need to travel. It might be this news that comes in that sends you on a trip. You have to go a distance, and going on this trip, it sparks the next chapter of your journey. But there's a road that you are meant to travel down, and you may feel it coming in. And I know you want to travel light as you head in this direction, and it will require that you have some bravery. You might have to take some risks, and there might be some people cautioning you. You might have this authority figure cautioning you, okay? There may be people that are questioning your choices, or like these three damselflies caught up trying to make you feel disempowered in making this choice by creating a confusing set of circumstances. But I see you being successful and moving forward here. This has something to do with a bit of destiny calling you. I think you've been dealing with some fated experiences. I do feel like there's somebody on the other end of this equation that factors in strongly. Communication is going to be really important in this regard. If you don't handle it correctly, you could lose this connection, and I don't think you want to. But there's something that's going on in the current dynamic that's a deal breaker, and it could be potentially somebody that these damselflies are associating with. So maybe there's somebody that's very dear to you that's connected to this situation where there's been some confusion. Maybe they're connected to two other people that for you it's like a deal breaker. Something coming in around that. These are all major arcanas. Isn't that wild? This is what you open with. I mean, you definitely are dealing with the hand of fate right now. And the hand of fate is arriving on you soon, very soon. You're starting to move through this right now. These next 3 full moons are initiatory gateways to move into the expansion of the new. The Fool is actually Aquarian energy and Aries energy. So I view that Aquarian energy coming in here, speaking about the road opening for you at the full moon on August 19th. It's in Aquarius, okay? I think that's when your road is really going to open here. And you're going to need to travel light. That also means emotionally. Ooh, yeah. There's something coming up around letting something go, letting a particular bone that needs to be picked go. And, you know, it may not be you that has that bone that you're holding on to so tightly. It could be some dog you're dealing with, you know? Can you teach a dog a new trick? I don't know. You might, you know, have to teach them by example. This person could be very set in their ways. They could have a very strong Taurus placement in their chart, or they have something that it's like it's in their belief system. It's just something that they adhere to very strongly. This could be that they are extremely religious, you know, and they don't agree with your path or your perspective, your philosophy of life. It's possible. And again, it could be somebody that you share assets with. I think a Taurus, and I think of that second house. So either somebody that you're partnering with in business, you have two different perspectives around what it looks like to move forward toward a successful business plan. You know, one of you wants to take more risks and the other is playing by the book. And you know that that time's up because the way forward's all about innovation. That can even be on a creative project, okay? But it does have more of a vibe of like having to deal with red tape and dealing with money matters, issues that can be like a hassle, and somebody who has some say-so, some authority, you know. I can see it definitely as being in a marriage and longing to go in another direction, perhaps because a particular soulmate calls. Even if you've never met them yet, you just feel that that fulfillment is somewhere else for you. That could even be in the case of a long-term relationship. There's a little bit of stubbornness in this situation that I feel like you're rebelling against. You want to move forward, but you're still kind of in this polarized place right here. And there's a key with that. When you're in the chariot and you're just entering your season, so it's like here you are arriving on the scene. The first thing you're going to be greeted with as you move into this lunar cycle is the crossroads. There's a choice that has to be made here. And this is in the affirmative here, you know, and I feel there's also this piece here where there's keys to freedom here for two, right? Two get freedom. So maybe two have been held up in some way. There's a need to let go. There's a need to end a cycle. There's been something that's been breached in a very important connection that is just, it's a deal breaker. So there's a lot of bravery required in communication to sort this out. But I do feel like where you've been dealing with deception, you're not going to be dealing with that much longer. With the way this came out for you, I want to look at each of these, I have to say, because this looks really significant to me. Very significant here. And I'm just really curious what's going on here, man. Okay. I want to know what each of these is about for you. It's interesting the way it came out for you. Tell me about this chariot for Cancer. What's coming in regard to this chariot for Cancer? I'm going to go ahead and look at them in the order that they came out for you. What's with this chariot for Cancer, Spirit? What do they need to know about this? Oh, look at that. The action. Ace of Wands. Okay, so I feel like where you're feeling kind of like stuck right now, something's coming in that's going to give you the fire to fuel your way forward. You're finally going to have an idea of what you need to do. You may be a bit of a trailblazer, like have the image of almost holding up a torch. It's like you haven't really known which way to go, but you're going to be able to kind of get the fog to clear and see a way through. I feel like you're opening your road. You might be doing it with a little bit of force as you rebel against what's held you in place. I do feel that. Be measured about that. You know what I'm saying? I mean, be certain in what you want to do, but make sure you're careful not to use too much force, especially with the Hierophant on the scene. That could cause trouble for you, right? You don't want to get yourself into a pickle. not as you're just getting started on your next trip around the sun. I do feel that you could experience provocation in that regard. There could be somebody that, makes you feel like they're forcing your hand. But I think that you need to stay in a place of self-mastery with this, especially with the Fool on the horizon. That's good energy, all right? So don't sabotage that. Use this wisely. I do feel like you're going to get the power to take some significant action that changes the whole landscape. Okay? It's going to change the game. You're not going to be dealing with the same situation, whatever tedious BS you've been navigating here. You're going to burn through it. You're being invested with some kind of power here that does allow you to take strong action. I feel like you're going to be moving forward in your new direction by fall. So by, beginning of September, as you start to enter into the fall season, I do see you taking some kind of action where you get moving, man. You get moving. This may also be when you travel, okay? I have to say. Interesting. I want some details on that. Let me pull out these angel cards as I do a little clarification here. I just want to take my time with your read. Knight of Swords. Yeah, you're going to move forward very swiftly, decisively. It could be an air sign connected to this. Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. Yeah, there's something here that you're going to grow, and it's really going to take off with this pentacle this knight is holding in its hand, okay? There's something that's really going to grow for you here. It's based on some kind of inspiration you have. Remember, there's people here who question your ideas or how you want to move forward or the choices you want to make, but you're right to move in this direction. You got the air, you got the fire there, man. That's like the spirit of Lou. You need to shoot your shot with this, all right, and trust it. A lot will grow from it. A lot will grow from it. Okay? A lot will grow for it. Some of you, those of you who have been trying to conceive, I see you being successful with that. Where you've been dealing with fertility issues, there's something that you're going to explore. It's a new approach. It's a new approach. I feel like you might try something more holistically based. There might have been a potential operation that was sort of on deck. Just a little side journey here. Okay, I see you maybe putting that on hold. You might put that on hold. And I actually think that it could be in your benefit to explore some different options. You might have just been too stressed out. Somebody may have been a source of stress in your environment. If you're stressed, it can be really hard to conceive, okay? Or there could be a child connected to this situation that sparks, the need to make a decisive choice and move forward, right? I feel like this is going to come in by the fall. Yeah, I said your energy. You might be a Cancer, Leo, Cusper. Okay. There's some kind of happiness here for you, though. There's some kind of restoration that takes place. And you have protection from these damsel flies that are caught up. I feel like somebody has really just been foaming at the mouth, man. They've been just like a rabid dog with, the way they've been sort of like barking at you. It's got those vibes. That might even be this dog over here that's trying to hold you back from getting where you want to go. I have to say, okay, but I think I see you moving forward with that. That looks good. And, you got the right idea about things, okay? So don't let anybody tell you that, your ideas don't hold weight or they don't matter, right? Because they will lead to the restoration you're looking for. I just want to get one more on that, okay? Look at that. Wow, confirmation, the Fool. You are definitely going to move forward. Your road's opening. You're closing an old cycle. It's going to take will on your part, but you do need to shoot your shot. Where you got the vision, you need to set your sights. It was 25:11 on the clock. 7:11. Like, you got luck on your side here. Yeah, I like this. It's sort of like spirit saying, like, you got luck on your side, I'm giving you the stamp of approval, but you got to make the choice. That's the challenge you face. It's sort of like, you know, looking into the mirror of possibility too long could really get you caught up, especially if you're placing too much weight on somebody else's opinion about your choices and what's best for you. As I go into that, it's like the throat wants to close up. Somebody likes to talk over you. They like to talk over you. Got that. They think that they have some kind of authority over you, and that's an illusion, you know. This is your path. You're meant to go on this path, whatever this is that's calling you forward. All right. And you do have assistance. I'm not saying it's going to be easy. The road is not easy. It isn't. It's a challenging road. I'm going to be real with you. I know that, you know, a lot of times people want to hear the pretty stuff, but I give what is coming through here. It has its challenges, but that's what the path is all about. That's what life is all about. We're here to learn. We're here to grow. All right. But I think the fresh energy will do more than enough to put wind in your sails. I feel like you've been needing that. You've been needing that enthusiasm. You've been needing a reason to feel optimistic. Okay. And this is it. There could be a Sagittarius connected to your situation. And again, how's the Sagittarius? This could have something to do with travel and something about going on this trip. It changes something fundamental in your life. It changes your life trajectory. It could be somebody you're meeting there, somebody that you're healing with there. It could be an ending that takes place there. Whatever this is, though, it moves you into greater expansion. And there's a lot of growth that comes from it, but you're entering a really dynamic time here. Okay, interesting. Let me see what's coming in here with the lovers, all right? Tell me about this lovers for Gemini. Gemini? It's associated with Gemini. There could be a Gemini associated with your situation, though. We did have the air signs come in with that Knight of Swords, all right? So I don't know if that's a little clue. Cancer, please. Yeah, there's some kind of, look, we got the Eight of Wands. It's all about movement, communication, travel. This is my fast moving energy. You're definitely going to see this go down within the next 2 months. There's some important message coming in for you. I feel like it's a message in love. It has more of those vibes, but there could be a monetary piece involved. It might create more of a conflict. Maybe you've built up something for yourself financially or a clientele or something like this, some kind of stability where you're currently at. And in order to take this opportunity in love, it could be in business as well, but I'm picking up more love vibes with this for some reason. But fit it where it applies to you. I could certainly see it could be the other way as well. I haven't seen yet, honestly, I haven't seen any cups energy on the board, so I don't know why I feel that, but it's just sort of what's registering. So there could be a choice in love that has to be made that maybe requires you leave some kind of stability. Now, for some of you really going rogue, that could be a marriage, like, you know, maybe you always hope to reconnect with a certain person. That's for some of you, okay? For others of you, you know, you don't want to be at a distance from somebody anymore. You want to be close to them, but it may require that you have to leave something that's really established in your life or some kind of stability, right? And for others of you, this is an opportunity to open up into greater expansion, to activate a dream that you've had. Maybe it's a dream you've had for years. You know, this could be touring, you know, going on the road with your band. You know, you get an opportunity to, you know, do something that's like once in a lifetime. And it requires you to leave where you're at right now, you know, go somewhere. For some of you, this could mean, you know, you're mobile for a bit, or that you start kind of like figuring out where you're going to lay down roots next because you know where you're at. It's like time's kind of up. It's got those vibes of kind of like a traveling vagabond, I have to say, like somebody that hasn't really figured out where home is yet, is trying to understand where they belong. also who they belong with and what they're supposed to be doing. And I do feel like you're in this like cathartic process right now of figuring that out. But there is news going to come in that's going to necessitate a choice. It's going to put you on the spot. And I do feel like you've had enough time to weigh this up. You're going to need to make a choice. You can't stay in that middle zone. I mean, the 3 damselflies, perhaps that's why everything's been caught up. It's confusion. Is it a web of your making from not making a choice? Okay, so maybe that's the problem here. Somebody's not making a choice. I do feel like there was something that was presented to you and you turned it down, maybe because it's not quite what you wanted it to be. Again, comes in this message that there are perhaps, 3 that come in tow in this situation that, this choice that was presented to you is attached to, and for you, it's a deal breaker. There needs to be some kind of communication around this. And I do feel like where you haven't had an opportunity to communicate effectively around that, there's an opportunity to do so coming in. It may necessitate an action on your part. It may require you to travel. You may need to have this communication face to face. You may not be able to just have it over the phone. It bears more importance than this. There's something that really needs to be understood here, but I sense fast movement. Okay. It's going to happen within 8 weeks max. That's my card signifying that. It could happen within 8 hours, 8 days, 8 weeks, but it's happening. And it's a very important communication, and it is going to demand a decision of you. And I do have this feeling like somebody's been waiting for a response, or they've been waiting for an answer, okay? Or they will be, and they're not going to sit and wait for you to mull it over longer. This is like something that you do need to act on. You need to make a choice. I don't think you're going to be able to bide much time in making this choice. Let me see. Tell me more about this 4 of Cups for Cancer. Why is the hesitation? Because you suspect the advance. You feel like there's something that ain't quite right about it, okay? You feel like there might still be a dynamic in place that you're not in agreement with, and you feel unsettled about that. You're like, not until, these other characters are moved out of the mainframe can we have this victory and enter into this next chapter together. Notice it's like the wreath, the victory wreath there. It really is coming through to mirror that 0 starting point of the Fool, and holding the 2 batons like, it's just the 2 of us making it through this portal. You got that, right? It's not Taurus coming in here and Scorpio and, Leo over there and Aquarius. It could be one of those characters. It doesn't have to be, okay? But those houses could certainly be affected. I mean, I do feel like something's been swept under the rug for far too long with that Scorpio influence. And I think you all feel the undercurrent of the tension in this situation. There might be a lot of pride involved in this situation, a lot of ego. It's kind of like a clashing of wills. I also feel with that Aquarian energy, there's the desire to rebel, but also to move into greater expansion. So, I feel like you're kind of holding a little bit of that energy. Honestly, I feel that. I feel like you're not wanting to deal with, staying stuck in this space anymore. I mean, Cancer, you're on the cardinal cross. Cardinal signs are known to just sort of be like, look, what needs to be done here? Let's just do it. If ever any of the crosses associated with the astrological signs could bear any connection to Gen X, it would be the cardinal cross, I would say. I don't see you wanting to stick around and deal with this. You could have been waiting on a decision from another. That's potential too. I can see that. And what you have to remember in a case like that, if you've been waiting for a response in the affirmative, if you've been waiting for this other person to finally figure it out, I have to say, not making a decision is a decision too. And you might be the one that needs to be the torchbearer. You may need to lead the way. You might need to go off alone. Isn't it interesting? Then all of a sudden that dog that was barking at you, coming off real strong and intractable all of a sudden is like nipping at your heels. But wait, what is there room in that satchel there for me? It's possible, okay? But there's a lot of success on the other side of this. So either way, this needs to be closed out, and there does need to be communication around it. There does. I feel that really strongly. I want to see if there's anything that the angels want to weigh in regard to that. Any advice for Cancer in regard to this, angels, in terms of what needs to be closed out here to actually be able to accept this offer? I mean, I really got the hit that you want the offer. You just don't want what comes in tow with it right now, because you know that what comes in tow with it is problematic. That's what I'm picking up here. But I feel like where there's been trouble with these, it feels like it's three characters here, because that's what's getting caught up. I see that. They're getting caught up in their own web of confusion and illusion, right? So you're not going to have to worry about that. I do feel like their influence is being cleansed away from your life. There's going to be a release from this, but there's still a choice that remains. And I do feel like whoever you're trying to make this choice about had some connection with these characters, all right, that were very problematic for you. So in some way, shape, or form, trust has been a bit marred in the situation. And the only way you're going to avoid a complete fracturing in the connection is to be able to have real clear communication about it. Yeah, this could be with the King of Wands in reverse, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. Strong on the Leo indication came through, strong on the Aries energy too with the Fool, all right? This is somebody who's highly independent, you know? They do what they want. They have the Cartman ideology, okay? You know, they don't like to be told what to do, especially coming in reverse. This person can be a hothead. This person can pop off. They like to be the boss of everything. They like to be in control. I could see why you would want to rebel against an energy like that, I have to say. Now, if you're a Cancer, Leo, cusper, you might want to be careful that you're not, you know, treading into that terrain, okay? You have to be mindful. Or if you have any strong fire placements in your chart, you might want to just, you know, temper your fire a little bit with your water, I have to say. Because this could be you moving into that territory and getting a little too bossy, a little too controlling, popping off, right? I feel like that does apply if you have a strong fire placement. We know you got some power to work with the Ace of Wands there, okay? You carry a big stick and you'll frickin' use it. So do be mindful of just like kind of, you know, tempering reactiveness. I do feel like there will be provocation here. It's the nature of this lunar cycle. All of the collective will be dealing with that. And I think this person, whoever this is, okay, and there might be a little bit of mirroring here, I do have to say, okay, it might be kind of being bounced back and forth between the two of you. There's a gruffness there. There's a real like bluntness, matter of fact, no smoothing of the edges there, that it's like, ooh, you know, it's a little harsh. It's a little harsh the way the communication comes in, the way you two butt heads with each other. It doesn't feel good, all right? And you feel like this person's hiding stuff, or this person can feel like you're hiding stuff from them. I feel like it can be mutually accusatory. It's sort of like the way it's coming in. The fire needs to be tempered a bit, okay? You don't fight fire with fire. If somebody's bringing you fire, you got to bring in the water. You got to soften. Don't greet it with the same, you know, intensity, because then it's just going to be nothing but a firewall and nothing's going to get through. You can't have that kind of clashing, okay? This is like somebody here has got the spear of Lu, and they might feel a little self-righteous about it too, but they're not using it correctly. It is too much force, okay? Like that got brought in initially. Be careful of this, okay? This is the danger of getting in too fixed of a position. Yeah, I think somebody may want to like win at all costs here, because we do have a Six of Wands. They feel like, you know, it's their way. And this could be somebody that is approaching you romantically, okay? They could have strong fire, strong water in their chart. right? There is some kind of desire for some kind of healing here with the caduceus. I see that, okay? Somebody's really wanting to heal a situation, but they're digging for secrets. They want to know details. And I do feel like some stuff is going to be revealed that might be a little hard to swallow, okay? There's like an emotional response to it. But there can be, you know, a balancing out. There can be peace in this situation. And that's why you really need to be careful with the communication. Don't bring too much heat or it will be sabotaged. I feel that really strongly. Okay? Important, very important, Cancer. Yeah. You know, you both could stand to lose in this situation. It was 4111 when I brought that in. Change in approach is needed here. I got like habitual response, the way one or the other has habitually responded to a situation. And even if somebody does come off like that, right? They come off really gruff or they start getting very argumentative, like you get a choice of how you react to that. Or do you choose to respond? You could, you know, go toe to toe with them. You're going to lose that connection, you know, or you can bring the water in, you know, come into your heart for a moment, even if you have to kind of like catch yourself and like put your hands on your heart to remind yourself, like, remember, remember, it's not going to feel good, you know, down the road to get your lick back in now because something really, really dear to you will be lost here. I feel like this is something that's dear to you that could be sacrificed. So be very mindful of this, right? I want to know about this Hierophant. Why is the Hierophant here for Cancer in this lunar cycle? What is this about, Spirit? What is this Hierophant about for Cancer? What do they need to know about this, Spirit? What is this Hierophant coming in here for Cancer? I can't remember the name of the fixed star. I'm still studying astrology. I'm still learning about astrology. I don't profess to be an expert, but that star, you know, is factoring in strongly. Is it spiculum? Something like that. It sounds almost like a speculum. Well, that's opening up a road. Somebody may be dealing with a birth in the mix of this. I do feel like you're going through like a rebirth. That's what it looks like to me. It looks like you've been in the waiting room, you know, and you've been waiting for this moment of birth, like for you to like finally have the old cycle end so you can be free to move forward. And I feel like this is what you're moving into. And it's going to take a lot of strength on your part. You got strength here, okay? This is Leo energy. You could be a Cancer Leo cusper. You may be dealing with a Leo. Leo is coming out a lot in this read. And there is a need to have somebody come up and out with it. They need to get beyond the firewall, though, okay? There's too much aggression there. And the aggression is this defensiveness that's coming from a place of like real vulnerability with this individual. There's some kind of hurt they're holding inside. If you got a strong Leo placement, or if you're a Cancer Leo cusper, this is likely you. And there's something that you need to balance out here. It's like the Empress is showing up here to teach you the way to balance it. You need to master your fire. You need to master your fire. Somebody in this situation needs to master their fire with the Five of Wands, because it's what's leading to the arguments, the complications. There's always going to be rebelling when people feel like they're being controlled, or like somebody's trying to like micromanage everything, or it's only what works for them and not the others. There's some kind of like falling out here. This could even be like some kind of family dispute. This could be a fight among a circle of friends. For those of you who are musicians, I don't know why it's coming in, but it is. For those of you in a band, it's like, you know, you're out of the band. It ain't working, man. Like, hit the road. It's like getting replaced by another, you know, last minute. I don't know. That might be going on for some band. It's stirring up some stuff. Somebody's got, you know, their ego bent out of shape around this. It's possible, but there's truth that needs to be spoken here. And that's what matters. And it's the right kind of communication with the Ace of Swords. And this may have its roots in something that happened back in the closing of last year, you know? And it's been tense ever since. And this needs to be resolved, you know? It needs to be resolved. Something needs to be balanced out here, and something hasn't been fair for two people. I see that with the Six of Pentacles here. And you may have been dealing, like I said, you might have been dealing with a situation where there's somebody trying to have all the control in this situation. And meanwhile, you know, everybody else here is getting, you know, breadcrumbed. Mm-hmm. You could be dealing with somebody who, you know, is a bit too full of themselves. Right? They're really out of balance in terms of their ego and what they feel is fair. This could be somebody who's being really selfish in this situation that you're dealing with. Okay, let me get you some information here from the angels. And that's not easy, all right? But you do have to really temper your desire to just sort of like fire back. It won't work out. This is a situation that can't be strong-armed. That's not what's going to open the road. It's going to cause so many problems, I'm telling you. It's going to cause so many problems. And, you know, damselflies are very much associated with dragonfly medicine, which is all about illusion. 46, 44 on the clock here. Yes, the illusion needs to come to an end. And it's time to be more conscious about what's being manifested into one's reality. What's being reflected in the outer world is the state of the inner world. So there's some kind of illusion you need to dispel here. I feel like whoever you're dealing with is mirroring something directly to you. And it's hard to look at this reflection. I feel that, okay? This is like the deep work we're all doing right now. It's not fun, man. This is really what's coming through. Yeah, look at this. 7 of Wands. Let the defenses down. It's not about defending a post or defending a belief or defending a position, okay? You don't need to defend the truth. You just live the truth, man. You just live the truth. You don't need to defend it. Anytime one feels like they have to fight so hard, you know, to defend their truth, it ain't pure. Something's come in to distort it in some way. In some way, it's become more about, you know, winning the argument, conquesting, than it is about the purity of the truth. Truth just shows up and represents embodied, and there's something about that for you here. You just need to let it be seen, you know. Don't block the heart. Open the heart. That's your key in this situation. It's what will set you free. What has you trapped is you're just too blocked off and you're too stuck in defending a particular position or stance or belief. And if you stop the fight and just be like, well, I'm just going to live my truth. I can't make other people believe my truth, go along with what I think they should do. I have to just represent what's true for me. And also, you know, keep my heart open. And sometimes other people's truth clashes with ours, and that's really hard to swallow. And I do feel like there's something here that needs to be recognized if you want to preserve a connection that's really important to you. And it might be that the truth that you have to share with each other is really difficult to accept. And that might be the choice you have to make. Can this connection bear the weight of the truth? That's the fire tested truth. You know, that is what it's about. It's like, can this relationship withstand the truth? And can we still, you know, find the way through to the heart, you know, to the heart of the matter? Yeah. There might be a need to see how somebody's truth is actually a lot more like yours than you recognize. I don't know why I got that piece, but I do. Any further information about this for Cancer angels? Any further information about this for Cancer angels? Oh, it's messy. I don't want to go to that place. I know. It's not fun. It's not fun. Take your time with it. Let the light of understanding come upon you before you jump in and just fire off. Okay. This has everything to do with you need to take down the defenses with the 9 of Wands in reverse to the King of Swords in reverse. In fact, that might be why this person you're dealing with comes with such barbed words. It's because they feel the defensiveness from you. What would happen if you didn't try to fight back? Let's say you are, I mean, King of Swords in reverse to the King of Wands in reverse is not a nice energy. It's not. It's somebody who's on the attack. It's somebody who's really like, they're cruel with their words, you know? This could be construed as even abusive with their words, I have to say. You may feel that very strongly, or they may feel that of you. This could be mirrored energy. So there's something that needs to be really looked at here. Somebody is very like hell-bent on, I want to win. I want to win. Have you ever thought, if you're dealing with somebody like this, okay, have you ever thought, just let them win? What is it about at the end of the day? You feel one way about something they're doing or something they're connected to. They feel the opposite. And there's no way to agree. And this is what understanding is about, that sometimes something's very true for one person, right? And something's very true for you. It doesn't make either of you wrong. It just might mean that you need to really represent your truth, and that might mean that, you know, you have to go your own way and strike out on your own. And actually might be the thing that changes things. And I don't mean it like a gameplay, like you're pretending. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, I'm the damsel in distress. I'm gonna go over here. I accept that that's your truth. Now I'm gonna go live mine. While you're looking over your shoulder, you know, don't clown it. You know, really represent it. Like there's something about maybe you've been through a particular cycle too many times, and it's time to really close it for good. That's possible. It may be the very thing that you've been avoiding that's exactly the medicine you need. It's going to bring you the elevation that you're looking for in your life. It's going to like open the road for you and free you of so much. It's the true victory, and it protects you from a tower. But with the way things are going, a tower is going to come. That's what I feel. Because this road needs to open, and it's been taking too long. This decision needs to be reached. It's coming in with this lunar cycle very powerfully. There's something that needs to be balanced out at the crossroads here. It requires a choice, right? I think when somebody shows you who they are, you've got to trust them, man. And somebody has shown you who they are. You got to believe them. Tell me about this fool. Ooh, okay, the way those came out. Okay, we got something that crossed that reverse King of Swords, King of Wands energy. Okay, and there's the advance. You see what I'm saying? There's some kind of advance coming in here. You will get some kind of message. It requires a choice on your part. Look at that choice. This is what you're stuck in. This is what you're stuck in. Oh my goodness. The 2 of Pentacles to the 6 of Swords. And what's crossing it? The choice that needs to be made. 2 of Swords. You know that something is just completely imbalanced. It's not balanced. It's like this again and again and again. 2 ships passing in the night. It never comes into port. You're always moving forward with all of this pain, all of this hurt. And there's something here that you're trying to like steady yourself to make a decision about in regard to this, to open your road. And it's the decision actually that frees you and gets things moving forward. Tell me about this decision. What is this decision that needs to be made for Cancer? What is the decision that needs to be made for Cancer spirit in this lunar cycle? What is the decision they need to make that will bring them the stability they seek? Landed right on my arm, right on my forearm, right on my tattoo that's all about pulling something up at the root and freeing yourself. The King of Wands, look at that, to the Two of Cups. Wow. You need to be all in. Do you want to heal this relationship or not? Do you want to heal this connection or not? 55:55 on the clock, 10:10. If you really do, if you say that this is your soulmate, if you say that this is the person that you want to partner with, if this connection is important to you, you're going to need to put it all on the line. You got to let something go. You got to gamble. That's where it's at, man. Let's just see what the angels have to say to back it up. I'm going to go ahead and do a cut of the deck here. That's pretty affirmative. The choice burdens you, but there is something that you have to let go of. There's something you're holding on to out of sheer responsibility. It's heavy, and it keeps you in a place of misery, weighed down. You already know what your truth is. You do. You're resting on it, and you're asking for a save. And it's sort of like Spirit saying with that Hierophant, look, stop praying to me for the save. You've had the keys all along. You got to make this choice. Say yes to it. The road opens, and it's there for you. But you're scared of taking the risk, man. There's something you're holding on to here, and it's become really burdensome. You got to drop it if you want this. You got to drop it if you want this. Yes, this is the light of understanding that will cure what ails you, I have to say. All right, angels, give some guidance for Cancer in regard to this, because they're really struggling with this choice, all right? Help them out a little bit. Help them out with this choice they need to make. I think you got some communication coming in, all right? There's something coming in soon. It's a hand of fate. You got to make a choice. You can't just sit on this. And where you do have an issue, you need to communicate about it, but the communication needs to be different than it has been. You might need to take a trip. Communication might need to happen in person, okay? I got that. I got that. Trip. Clouds outside, they're almost forming this image of like somebody taking in the peace pipe, okay? So this deserves more than a text, all right? You want to be mindful of this communication. There needs to be like some respectful space held around this communication. It's important. I got that. It's important, okay? Yep, could be with a particular emperor. I'm telling you, you've had Taurus energy, Aries energy coming in quite a bit. And this is what's hanging in the balance here. Do you want it right side up? I mean, this person's really intractable at this time. You know, you got to find a way to, you know, extend an olive branch. Is it about pride? You know, maybe you need to be the first to extend the olive branch here. And even if it's not received, that's not what it's about. You know, it's about forgiveness. That's the heart of the matter here, okay? Even if this person doesn't love you, even if this person doesn't want to partner with you, even if this person doesn't want to work with you, all right? But there is something here that needs to be released, okay? And you might be surprised. It might actually be the way through. The angels have to say here. 10 of Wands, it comes out again, okay? And they say spiritual communication is what's needed here. So I'm going to hold the line with that. There's an important communication that you need to have, but the right kind of space needs to be held around it, and you need to stay connected to your heart.